Well, hello again, everyone. This is Ted Schmidt from Action Coach Northwest. Welcome to our Business Community Podcast. And today, our guest is Matt Diefenbach, and he is one of the founding partners of Turnstyle Studio. So, welcome today, Matt. It's good to have you here.
Thank you, Ted. Great to be here. Appreciate you inviting me to speak with you today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Look forward to hearing your insights and all your business wisdom for us. So Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about Turnstyle Studio?
Certainly, yeah. Well, Turnstile is a boutique brand design agency located in Seattle. We just turned 20 years old last year, which is amazing to think, one, that we've been around that long, and two, that it's gone that fast. A lot of times I think about it as still sort of getting going. But we are a brand design firm. We create identities and companies from the ground up. We evolve brands that have been around for a while that are going through major business changes or evolutions or shifting strategies, and we help work with them to signal that change, both in terms of identity and messaging and the communications around that. And then we support a lot of brands because we have been working with brands for a long time and have invented and authored a lot of them. We become sort of the strategic partner by which our clients come to us to consult on various ongoing brand, product, business, marketing needs. And so we continue to support those brands along the way.
All right, excellent. So everybody has a little bit of idea of the space you're in, and that's awesome. Here, and the first one is, if you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
That is a great question. I'll start with a little backstory to me, because while I am the business director for a creative agency, I graduated from college with a psychology degree, a French degree, and an English minor. So I can't design my way out of a box, nor did I take a business class at all in my college years, but I run the business of a creative agency. So I've always kind of wondered, like, probably a lot of things we did along the way, we sort of learned by brute force and trial and error. So there's probably a lot of things that hindsight being 2020, we would do differently had we had a little bit more business acumen at the beginning. However, we've learned a lot and grown a lot over the past 20 years. So maybe the three observations I was thinking about on this question were, there's oftentimes early companies that come to us that are bootstrapping their business from the ground up, and they have a fantastic idea, product, service, plan. And they'll ask us to take equity in their business in exchange for fees for service instead of just, outline the total cost. And we did that a couple of times with some early companies in the food and beverage space, which were probably not the right ones to do that with, because those are sort of it takes a long time for those types of businesses to scale in a way where that equity pays off. So maybe if we were to have done that, and so we did a couple of those, it didn't pan out. We decided we're never doing that again. But then, along the way, we worked with other companies in the technology, in the biotech, in the professional services, software as services space, and their exits were significant. And so had we taken equity with them, it probably would have proven to be a smart business move for us. Maybe two other things that I would have done differently, and obviously hindsight being 2020, being in the post-pandemic world that we're in, I have this fabulous building in Fremont, Washington, the neighborhood of Fremont, Seattle. And it's wonderful. And before 2019, we had 40 people buzzing around this, 4-story building, high activity. But when remote work came on and everybody kind of settled into a different rhythm, the halls here are a little quieter. And so while we love the space, maybe untethering from the office dynamic earlier would have been better. Right now, we're actually selling our building because it's underutilized for what we do. So maybe untethering from the office environment. And then lastly, We have a fairly robust dev team for a lot of the websites that we build and products that we build for our clients. I think I would have scaled that differently over the years, just because, they're probably our most expensive part of our business to run, because we have to compete with the Amazons, the Microsofts, the Facebooks, the Apples, all of the tech companies that are in our backyard wanting the same talent. And so because of that, it's a fairly expensive business to run, which requires us to take only certain kinds of technology types of projects to make that pencil out. And so if I scale it differently, we might be able to have a little more flexibility with our the types of digital solutions we can provide to clients that don't sort of start at a high beginning place and then only go upwards. I think we miss an opportunity to serve some of our clients in that regard.
Okay, excellent. Interesting. So going remote, huh? Interesting. Yeah.
Maybe not fully remote.
Amazon bringing everybody back. How's the impact on that?
That is going to be interesting. All I've heard so far is a little bit of complaints. I mean, we're not fully remote. People come in our office, but we may have any given day 5 to 7 people versus 25 to 30, and so the hum is different here.
Yeah.
And so we probably will still have a place to gather. We just wouldn't make it a place where we're always required to pay a monthly mortgage on. Maybe we would do something that would be a little bit more. The thought I have is, maybe we go on a retreat quarterly with our team somewhere for a few days to both connect as a team, solve some sort of business organizational things together, and meet, but then do a lot of our other stuff just remotely, like we tend to do here. So, however, you're right. With the Amazon return to office, we'll see what that ripple effect starts to provide in terms of will others follow, and how does that work for us? But our team is in places where it's actually more productive for them to begin and end their work from their home than battling the traffic to come in to do the work that they could be doing from their home. But we require them to come in.
We all know there's no traffic in Seattle, right?
None at all. None at all.
I lived over there for 24 years, so yeah. Anyway, okay. Question number 2. What are your biggest learnings? What have your biggest learnings been as an employer since you began in business?
It's a good question. I think, especially being sort of a boutique business that we're in, that's in professional services, it's very easy for myself to get caught up into all of the matters of the day all the time. And so the focus becomes dealing with the things that are right in front of you, and not intentionally carving out time to plan for what's ahead. And it doesn't have to be like years out. It could just be even just like, what does 3 or 6 months look like? And making sure that you're laying the the foundation and the groundwork for being able to tee up the next book of business, to help clients kind of plan what's next in kind of their marketing or brand roadmap, and just being kind of having that laid out and at the ready, so that as you wind down that work you're doing for them or for other clients at the time, you're starting to wind up that other one. Versus there are moments in our industry, because I talked to a lot of business owners like myself, where everyone's so busy solving the problems of today that they forget, like, I just wrapped all this project, now I got to go find more work. It's like, actually, we should be seeding and nurturing that along the way, so that we're not having those moments of feast or famine. So yeah, and then I think my other thing is, we get busy serving our clients and facilitating, sort of setting our team for success and just doing all the things, that sometimes it's hard to take all the conversations, the inquiries, the people that are just trying to figure out if you can help them, and if they can help you. And I've always sort of adopted the idea of always take the conversation whenever possible, because you just don't know if even that first conversation, it may not be the right fit, it may not be the right client, but if you opened up a conversation that might plant a seed for later, that might identify a project that's a better fit, meet somebody who's going to move to another organization and remember that great conversation they had. Like all of those things have always played a factor into how that next book of business comes in. And so, even in the small, what seems like sort of adjacent or maybe on the outset insignificant type of conversation you might be taking, take it if you can, because you just never know where it's going to go.
Well, you don't, and they could be a great referral for you.
Exactly.
They could refer somebody to you, that kind of thing. I see that all the time. So, yeah, very true, very true. Okay. Question number 3 here. What are some common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address them?
Yeah, that's great. I think I'd love to say, I think everybody romances the idea like, oh, you run your own business, you can just design your day however you like, wake up at 10, take Fridays off for golf or whatever. And that's not the case. I'd love to think that I have full control of my day, and I do get to sort of map out some of it, but the clients and the needs of the team, they really control the motions for me. And so I sort of have to go into each day with the idea that I have the things I'm going to try to get done, but I have to be prepared, open, and ready to receive all the things that are not on my radar that are going to come up, and welcome them in, because, closing the door and saying I can't be bothered can be very limiting in terms of how you're going to be able to support the needs of your clients, the things that have come up, the new opportunities that might emerge, if you just kind of, dig a hole and stick your head in the ground. And so, and that's also the same way with, I can't think of a vacation I've taken where I've totally unplugged as a business owner. There's so much that comes up in sort of the off hours. You meet somebody when you're out and about, and it's like that conversation might lead to something, because what we do, every business organization, institution needs a little bit of, and so you just never know where that next conversation is going to come from. So I'm always kind of running a business mindset behind kind of all the places and spaces I am in, even if it feels like, oh no, you should unplug from here, or this is your time for that. I just have sort of learned to just kind of keep that corner of my mind open, so that I'm not surprised when something pops up that might be worth considering.
Yeah. Hard to shut it off, isn't it?
It really is, and I wish I was better at it, but it's difficult.
Well, I'm still waiting to meet the business owner that only does what they want when they want.
Me too. Introduce them to me as well.
Yeah. Okay. What do you attribute your growth to?
That's, a lot of it is reputation based. Like, we're not, contrary to kind of a lot of businesses, we don't do a lot of outbound marketing efforts. So much of our work just naturally comes inbound, because reputationally, if you develop some award-winning work, which we were fortunate enough to do very early on in our business, we have an amazingly talented team that has been with us for, we've been around 20 years, and more than half our team has been with us for at least half of that time, if not longer. So really have some seasoned experts that I get to surround myself with here. We have clients that have been with us since day one. So building those and maintaining those strong relationships with our clients. And then, as I was mentioning earlier, if they move on to, if their role changes, if they move to another organization, if that relationship is strong with them, then they'll think of you to help them with their next venture. And so, I think one of the things we're very good at is designing ourselves into a business, because so much of what we do influences the trajectory of a business. Brand is not the last consideration. People always ask us, why did you name yourself Turnstyle? And we always think about the idea that style is not kind of the last consideration. Design and brand is not we got everything else in place, now let's just make it look good. It is the reason why people choose your service, your product, your company over somebody else. It's the reason why employees want to join your company to work for you. It's the reason why people buy your product or service. It influences almost every aspect of a business. And so we often get a chance to sit at the table with all of those business decision makers at the C level, C-suite level and VP level to help inform from a brand standpoint how we're going to solve or meet their next objective or solve the problem they have. And so because of that, it just opens up and creates so many opportunities for us that are beyond just the transactional. Can you help us with this trade show? Can you help us market this new product? It's more, it's deeper than that. And so if we can do that and do it well, then it often is a virtuous cycle to just generate more work with that client, and hopefully clients or people that they know that admire the business they built, and oftentimes like, who did your brand? And then we'll get that call saying, oh, I talked to so and so, and they talked about how much they enjoyed working with you, and good work begets good work.
That's kind of the organic growth, word of mouth deal, and it's all about relationships. Yeah, absolutely.
It still works.
Okay. How do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I was just talking about how I never turn it off, but I do. I context switch a lot, which is really important for me. So one of the benefits of owning a business and being able to at least have some control of my schedule. Not that I work less, I just sometimes can work asynchronously to certain things. Is I can do things. I have permission to go and do things that fill my cup outside of the things that work can or would allow me to do. And so, for instance, I've been able to coach my daughter's school soccer team since kindergarten. So 9 years I've been working with the same girls and their parents and sort of developing their talent and sort of their own characters development along the way during these formative years. And that's just something I'm not going to get anywhere else. And then again, that virtuous cycle, by just going out there and doing that, it's like, I look around, I'm like, oh my gosh, like half the parents on the sidelines are now clients of mine and not because I go out there as a market, but we just get to know each other and we understand what we do beyond outside of the field. And so oftentimes those opportunities turn into other opportunities just from like, hey, can you help my company with X, Y, or Z when you're not coaching my daughter? So I love to do that. I love to volunteer. I love to just put myself out there because it creates those opportunities to get to know people, to kind of, to obviously to be rewarded in things outside of just, managing a business. And so those are the ways that I find balance. I'm a high extrovert, so I'm not somebody that has to kind of decompress and go away. I find that the more I can be out there and doing things that are exciting, relevant to kind of the things that I get excited about, and allow me to kind of do things, stretching my mind in ways I don't get to do here at Turnstyle, I'm always sort of looking for those next opportunities. So that's kind of where I find the balance.
Well, that's a tricky one. I get a lot of interesting answers to that question. So.
I bet. Yeah.
Okay. What qualities do you look for in employees, and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we really need people that are self-starters. I mean, this isn't something where every single decision, every single project, everything runs through me and then out to everybody else. It's I help consult on the solution, like hear what the client needs, figure out they'll build a plan and a strategy to solve that, put a team together that's going to execute on that, and then put those people in charge of taking it from beginning to end, with me running in the background to help support them, but not micromanage them. And so having a team that is full of self-starters, that have a ton of initiative, that are great communicators, that can solve problems without always needing to go to somebody else to get the answer, that are proactive planners, and are rapport builders. That is kind of, those soft skills are all the things that we need on top of just, are you a great account manager that can set schedules and manage timelines and et cetera? Are you a talented designer that can build brand systems, websites, and all the things? And so making sure that those soft skills are present are absolutely sort of the first requirement for what we look for employees.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. Okay, second to the last question, believe it or not. We're sailing through here. What question should I be asking you that I haven't?
Yeah, that's a good one because that first question was kind of like, what would you do if you could start over? But maybe the question to ask is like, what else should we be doing that we aren't doing today? Not like if you could go back in time, but like where we are today in this AI moment, in this remote work moment, in this create the democratization of creative, where a lot of the tools that were left to the experts are now in the hands of everybody. Um, um, what else should we be doing so that we don't become irrelevant or sort of minimized in the kinds of things that services we can provide to our clients? And so I think it's, we've talked about sort of two paths that make sense. I'm assuming I'm supposed to answer this question, by the way. I'm supposed to ask the
Yeah,
question and
absolutely.
then
Yeah,
answer it.
yeah. I get some really interesting answers to this.
Yeah, no. I think because I was talking about the fact that brand plays such a role in a critical role in the way businesses are organized, structured, run, and what their product experience is. That continuing to translate that into even more business consultation. I mean, we effectively launch businesses from the ground up. We meet with companies that are in very early stage, just got their seed money, are coming out of a VC entrepreneur and residence program, and all they're trying to do is build their widget, and they don't have any other sort of mechanisms by which to build an organization around it. And we've done that for ourselves, and we help do that with clients as they're doing that. So maybe it's more of the business consultation for emerging companies, for companies that are going through mergers and acquisitions, because a lot of times our conversations we are brought in when companies are merging, acquiring, or being acquired by a company, trying to figure out what is the roadmap for that business and for the brand um, as part of that. And so um, that is sort of stretching what you would think of a traditional branding agency to do, and it expands into something broader, but also is where you have higher value to the client, which continues to want to keep you at that seat with all the business decision makers, but also you're sort of at the top end of the things that you can charge for, because that's where expertise, experience, and just having the background that we have really plays into helping pass that on to their clients. And so there's value to it, and you should charge for it. I think we should be doing more of that. Maybe the other one would be product type, like taking some of the things that we do as a service and productizing it. Maybe there's a new content management platform, proprietary, that we can build for our clients to use for their websites going forward versus licensing other ones. Maybe there's a product that we can design and create and launch and sell on our website as a way to just
Yeah.
again differentiate and bring other kinds of revenue streams into our company.
Yeah. Yeah. What else should you be doing? That's great. Great answer. Okay. Last question. Here we go. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And any words of advice for other business owners who are looking to grow their business?
Yeah. Probably a summary of some of the things I've touched on before. I think, in my last comment about what else should we be doing that we aren't doing today, I think that's going to be a continued question that we're going to have to ask as just the landscape of where brand and marketing plays for organizations, institutions, and businesses in the wake of AI continuing to sort of become a part of the conversation. And so we should either evolve as a company with maybe some of the things that I was touching on in my last response, or I need to evolve my role within the company or beyond the company, beyond this agency, just so I can continue to sort of take all of the things that I have done for clients and either make that a service that works within our organization, or actually start up sort of a separate entity that kind of solves those needs for clients that maybe is adjacent to what Turnstyle is known for. I think there's going to be a major reinvention. If you were to reach out to me 5 years from now, good question. I think there's going to be big changes ahead, all in a good way. But definitely, I'm after 20 years of running this company and over a century in this industry, I'm definitely not resting on my laurels by any means, and I'm ready for kind of the next chapter. Advice to give people, business owners. I think obviously, the only way we exist is by continuing to add value to the people that we work with. So if we're just kind of phoning in our solutions, our suggestions, our ideas, the way we interact with people, and it's feeling stale, there's always going to be somebody nipping at your heels that will offer a little bit better service, a little bit of a bigger offering at a lower rate. And so making sure that you can add value to your clients is important. I think along with that, build those genuine relationships with your clients and nurture them along the way. And don't just engage when you need them for something or they need you for something, but try to get to, follow their business, understand their business, spend time at their business so that you can become embedded in their business. And then last, be involved inside your organization and outside in the world, because they're just the viral promotion of who you are as a person, and connect that back to your organization is some of the best free advertising you can get out there. And so for a professional services company, I look at kind of, I'm a walking billboard for my company. So wherever I go, whatever I do, it needs to both reflect on kind of me as a person, but also as an ambassador to the good work that Turnstyle does and will continue to do in the future.
Great. Well, awesome. Great insights there. Thank you very much, Matt Diefenbach, one of the founding partners of Turnstyle Studios. Thank you, Matt, for being on our podcast today.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, Ted.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thanks.